Okay, so now we're going to take what we did last time and just add to it. Here, if you remember, what we did was we have an integer input called the grade. In this case, we're checking to see if it's a valid grade. And now, what do we do if it is and it is not? So in this case, it's a negative check. I'm checking to see if it's out of bounds. So if it's less than 0 or greater than 100, then I want to just simply exit out. So to do so, I'm going to use the system.exit and give it a -1 value that says something happened. And now I want to replace the good grade with another check. So here I want to output a letter grade. For example, if I have an 80, then that's a B. Okay, so how do I do that? I want to replace this, now my test code, with some more if checks on the grade. So grade, for example, and here I'm going to do a series of if and else ifs to get the bounds. I know it's within bounds, so I know it has to be between 0 and 100. So now I have to just define what the grade is. So if it's greater than 0, which I know it's going to be, and grade less than 65, then I know it's an F. Okay, so sys out, and I'm just going to output grade of F. Oops, F there. All right. Else, well, else if grade is less than, if it's over 65 and less than a 70, then I know my grade is going to be grade of 80. So between 65, so greater than 65 and less than 70. So let's think about this and see if it's going to work. What if, let me go ahead and put an else here so I could do some test output. So SOUT, and here I'm just going to put else for test. I'll have to replace this later. This is just for testing. I want to test for a boundary. So in other words, greater than and less, greater than 0 and less than 65. Is that correct? We can't make this assumption that it is. So I'm going to enter a 0. Well, I see I have a problem because 0 is valid, but 0 is not tested for here. So it's going to have to be greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 65. Is that correct? Well, 65 is actually a D, so let's test this and see what happens. A 65 says it's an F. So here, the less than or equal to is not valid. Okay, so I see the same pattern here. Greater than 65. So if I type in, let's just test it one more time. If it is 65, then I get an else. Well, here it has to be greater than or equal to 65 and less than 70. Okay, to get a D. Else if, and I can do this, I could just keep right on going with the same logic. Greater than or equal to 70 and less than 80. Well, what will that get me? Well, I changed my else there. So let's go back and just use this else. I mean, this out. So grade of a C. All right, and I'll just keep right on going with that. Less than or equal to an 80 and less than a 90 is a B, and anything over that is going to be a because I'm already checking for 100 up here. All right.